Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Today I have a great book for you guys. It's from Usborne. It's called The Lift the Flap Periodic Table. It's obviously a non-fiction book covering a very dry, hard, what could be a hard topic like the periodic table. Now, for those of you who don't know, I homeschool my 6 kids, and I rely heavily in my homeschooling on books, reading books, living books, any kind of books we can put our hands on in the library, bookstores, online, um, aside from curriculum. So even if, especially for science and social studies, we rely heavily on reading books for different topics, even if we have a solid curriculum that we're working on. So this periodic table book is really interesting book. As opposed to other nonfiction books, which has a very, dry structure, reading a sentence after sentence, a paragraph after paragraph. This book you're going to see in a minute that it's written and presented in a way that gets the attention of the reader of all ages and all levels of reading. I have avid readers and I have reluctant readers and I have beginner readers, and all of them loved this book. Before I introduced the topic, I gave them this book. They read it. Some of them read it more than once, and they have learned a lot from just reading this book alone. It's really an interesting book. And even if you're not homeschooling and you know that your kids are about to start this not very interesting topic for a lot of kids, it is a good idea to introduce this book to them so that they can get an idea about what a periodic table is in a very interesting and attractive way. Now, let's go into the book and see how it's presented. So as you see here, the first topic is what is the periodic table, introducing from the very beginning what a periodic table is. And the good thing I like about this book, it does not assume a background information. Like, it assumes that the child does not know anything about chemistry. It does not know anything about the periodic table or what an element even is. So introduce everything from the very beginning. What is the periodic table? And then it's just a brief introduction to the topic, and then everything else you will find using lift the flap way. So you read a little bit of information, and then more of the information is inside. So here, the periodic table has different kind of elements. You open, it has some elements are solid, some are liquid, and some are gases. Here there is some elements are very common, like iron. Others are very rare and hard to find, and here are the ones that are rare to hard to find. What else? It's so many flaps, you guys, and that's what makes it very interesting. The kids just read the outside, get attracted to know what is inside the flap, and that's the whole idea of the book. And then look here, it says what's an atom. So it really introduces the topic from the very beginning, not assuming that the kids do know anything. So what's an atom? And then here, what's inside an atom? And then um, and then more information about each atom in general. All right, so many flaps, right? And then here, how does periodic table work? Why is it set up this way? Why not any other way? And then it talks about different kind of, so here, for example, the transition elements, what are they? And here it guides you to where you will find more information about these elements. And here, metalloids, some information about it. And then here, the person, Mendeleev, the one who made up the whole idea of the periodic table. The people who invented some of the elements are named after the people who discovered the elements, and that's them. Then goes to, after this, the rest of the book goes into different kind of elements. So elements that fizz and bang. So look at these information about each one of them, right? And then here, the ones that make the fireworks and what colors are made by which element. Cesium, it explodes. if it's stored in oil, and then because if it's exposed to air, it explodes. So you see that the way it's laid out, it's very, very interesting, and keep the kids interested to know more. Unlike like I was saying, unlike any other nonfiction book, um, the kids might, they may start it but then not never finish it. But this one, all my kids finished it from beginning to the very end, and some of them, like I said, read it more than once. Then goes to hard shiny metals and different information again about the different kind of metals. These are the magnetic ones, and what it means for element to be magnetic. um, so see all the flaps, things used in magic. See, so many flaps, so very many flaps, and that's what makes it really interesting. I have even my 15, almost 16-year-old loves this book. And then goes to the soft dull metals, and talks about again the different kind of uh, this category of metals. All right. And this is very interesting about the crime scene and the things that the different elements used in a crime, the forensic scientists used to gather information from a crime scene, like aluminum and the gunpowder residues and stuff like that for in a crime scene. So it's really interesting. Um, and then goes to the elements of life. For example, what is a molecule? Like I said, does not assume that the reader knows. So what's a molecule? And then an example of a molecule is O3, which is an ozone that protect the Earth from dangerous parts of the sun rays. Hydrogen, carbon, information about all these elements, and nitrogen, of course, all these. And then it ends with solid, liquid, and gases, so the different forms. So here the noble gases, for example, is what happens when they are put in a tube, and then in empty tubes, and then electrified, what kind of colors they make, right? And then this is the halogens and what color they are. So tons of rich information. And then it ends with the radioactive elements. And again, see these 3 elements were named after planets, things used in the Manhattan or top secret information in the Manhattan Project about the atomic bombs. And as you see again, so many flaps, and that's what makes them read it to the very end. So again, this is from Usborne. I will leave the link with the video below, so check it out. It's a really, really interesting topic, and an interesting book that introduces not a very easy topic for children usually. And by the end of reading this book, the kids will learn a lot about this topic, and they will be, I think, interested to know more and more, and ready to know more about this topic, whether in homeschooling or even if they go to public school. All right, I hope you like the book and the information presented in the book, and check it out on my e-commerce site down below. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi.